Alright, I've made a list of some of the most interesting Elden Ring details and secrets, such as this weird new look to the Moonlight Greatsword when seen through a ghost, and well, Rykard's death machine's designed to look like his wife Tanith, which is a weird way to show love. Also, if you look at the Elden Beast's sword, it's actually a boss. Turns out this is Radagon after being dipped into the cosmic goo. You can see his body is the hilt of the sword, at least he's striking the Inner Order pose and going out in some fashion. Now, the community of Elden Ring has discovered some really cool details. Over at Zeostorm's community, they found the body of the Dragon Lord before you go back in time. Vadi discovered that the Forgotten Snake boss in DS3 was fully realized in Elden Ring. Rev's basement found a glitch where you can have an unobtainable purple cape, and Zuli unmasked NPCs and revealed their faces. These are all amazing discoveries displayed from these YouTubers, so check out their in-depth explanations on it. Semi-recently, it's been discovered that a summon can ride wolves. If Latenna is near a dire wolf, she'll just hop on and start riding around. It makes sense as the character was close with wolves, until you realize that it's kind of broken and she'll shoot the mount that she's riding. The closer you look at enemies, the more horrifying they become. Birds with human body parts, humans with bird body parts, and I guess bugs with more human body parts. The Deathrite bird has full heads emerging from its ribcage. On the grafted Scion, there's feathers and a wing, not to mention the human arms on the Kindred of Rot. It's pretty horrifying. There's actually another really cool enemy detail which involves Godwyn's face. Certain crabs affected by the death blight bear the face of Godwyn on their back, and it's even hidden on the big one. If we go under Stormveil, we can find one of Godwyn's heads, and next to it is the Prince of Death's pustule. This pustule, which means blister or pimple, is what is on these crabs. And oh yeah, right below where we find them is the full body of Godwyn, who's poisoning the world and therefore our crabs through these roots. By the way, if you liked the video, subscribe. Now, I think we've had enough proof that Patches isn't the best guy, and I've always wondered why someone so cowardly fought against Radahn. Turns out he doesn't fight against Radahn. He instead pulls out his shield, slowly walks towards the boss, sees what he's going against, and then returns to his world. I love it. If you ever look closer at the gargoyles, you can notice they actually have two faces meshed together. These amalgamations are the horrid combinations of powerful champions in an attempt to create a stronger warrior. Their missing body parts have been mended with this substance called corpse wax, which also is used on their weapons to repair the missing parts. Interestingly enough, we can see this same substance being used to seal the doors and windows within Lane Dell. Corpse wax is a real thing though, and the gargoyles were clearly based upon this process. The snow area of Elden Ring feels big, and I don't know if it's the blinding snow or its dominating size on the map. But user DiamondPup2 decided to go through and highlight the extra space. It revealed how small the mountaintops of the giants actually are. So I decided to compact the explorable areas, and well, when put over Caelid, it's a little bit smaller. Like many players, I really didn't take notice of Gatekeeper Gostoc until the end when we see him stomping on Godric's head, but apparently he's been with us the entire time. While exploring Stormveil, you can find him stalking you on 4 separate occasions, except there's another interesting detail, and every time you die within the castle, he takes 30% of your runes, although you can get it back if you kill him. But this isn't even counting for the time when he locks you in a room. He's actually pretty scummy. I love the Fallingstar Beasts, and their metamorphosis is a really cool enemy concept. Throughout their process, you can actually spot their eye skull thing slowly emerging from the beast, which if you clip into one of the larva versions, you can see the skull just sitting there. By the way, their general life cycle is based on Antlions. The larvae have the same jaw and body, they both cocoon, and when they're done, they gain wings and grow into full adulthood. The only small difference is that one just has a human skull. It seems that Margit's shackle is completely broken. Apparently when you use it, the item has a very large 0 damage area of effect. If you feel like there might be an illusory wall, just try it and it'll cover the whole room. The fire-breathing imp statues can be lowered from a very far distance, but the best part is you can destroy the chariots. It seems that it forces one to spawn, which then makes them collide and explode, effectively neutralizing the whole dungeon. A cool but less known weakness is a simple charge attack against the Fallingstar Beast. If timed correctly, it will stun it and completely stop his charge sequence. What weapon you use really doesn't matter, it even worked with just my hand. Another cool mechanic is that the crystal darts can overcharge golem enemies and have them attack each other. This also works on the imps too. I tried this on a bunch of robot golem-esque enemies and it had no effect. The only close one was the guardian golems who would be momentarily stunned, although that was it. Except one item does this much better, and the bewitching branch also has enemies fight each other. But once they're pacified, they stay pacified even if you hit them, so once used, the enemy is effectively dead. Within the round table hold, we get to meet Hugh, and I always found it weird that he's just a basic enemy. You can find these creatures called Misbegotten, who are an oppressed race forced into slavery, and they actually have pretty cool lore, such as Castle Morn where they rebelled and completely took over the building. But Hugh isn't much different, as he's being forced to make a weapon to slay God. Another cool detail, weirdly enough, involves Elden Ring's ledges. If you're attacking next to a drop, the game will not let you fall no matter what. By the way, this doesn't work for weapon abilities. As you know, in the Great Jar's trial, you must face 3 knights, but some of you might have noticed that their builds are toxic. Well, it's because they're other players. If you can succeed at killing all 3 knights, then you'll be rewarded with the Great Jar's admiration. What is also cool though, is now your build will appear as a Jar of the Great Knight in someone else's world, and that's why the phantoms you fight all have horrible bleed builds. Now, we would never want to hurt Torrent, especially by accident, but sometimes her battle gets in the way. Although we don't have to worry, and he actually subtly ducks away from any spells we cast, no matter how big. It's a nice touch. Another kind of funny detail involves Renala. If you hadn't noticed, there's not a single stake of Marika within the academy. Part of the reason Renala is insane is because Radagon left her for Marika, so why would she want to see the woman who stole Radagon from her? It's a cool detail if you don't think about the outcome. The Erdtree avatar has a not so surprising weakness. As you can see, it's being demolished right now, and the secret is fire. I mean, it's made of wood. But any sort of fire pot does massive damage to this enemy, especially if you have pretty good strength or dex scaling. This isn't even mentioning the Giant's Flame fire pot, which if you've leveled in Faith will absolutely destroy these guys. The off-brand Witch of Hemwick actually can be deadly itself, and if you're crazy enough to not kill the snail after defeating both Godskins, you can witness a grab attack no one really wants to experience. And this isn't that rare as it does it every time, so it actually can be deadly. While in an elevator, you can see your parry window. Simply enough, if you just parry against a wall, the sparks flying off will show the frames. This can actually be used to display which weapon has a bigger window. User Windermere Peaks discovered that you can skip pretty much all of the Halig tree. Start at the Prayer Room Grace, run towards the bowl, and take a right down to the elevator. You can simply just walk off from the corner and your dead body will trigger the pressure plate, activating the shortcut to Melania and skipping the entire area. But hopefully you found something cool, and if you want to see more, subscribe. And as always, I appreciate you watching up until this point. See ya!